I want to invite you on a journey with me. It's a journey that took 19 years, but I have millions and millions of sisters around the world who have been going through this journey, who have completed it or are just starting. It's a journey to a hysterectomy. Sometimes our femininity and our value as a woman is attached to having a functioning uterus that can birth children. But what happens when that goes wrong? What happens when that uterus has done its job or didn't do the job and yet has to be taken out? This has plunged so many women into deep depression, and they have lost their sense of identity and value, thinking that their worth is tied to this organ. This journey of 19 years that I have put together and compiled in vlogs is what I'm inviting you on. How did I get here? I am still in post-recovery, but many things I have learned, and the most important one is this: my creativity and my ability to create life did not end with my uterus. I want to be able to share some of those principles that I've learned with you. But first, again, strap up your seatbelt because we're going on a roller coaster ride. This is the journey to my hysterectomy. Hey, I'm going to be beginning a series of live videos to take you through with me, and you have a choice, a journey that I've been on the last 18 years, and it seems like it's now coming to a meeting point where what I knew was inevitably coming is here, and it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle mentally and emotionally, and just throughout the process of coming to terms with where I knew I would end up, where doctors have told me that I probably would end up, and reconciling this journey. I've decided to come on and share as this is evolving, because I know that I'm not the only one who has gone through it. I've read many stories and articles and heard a lot about women who have experienced this, not in necessarily the same way that I have. Some other experiences have been a little bit more dramatic. And when I say dramatic, I mean a little bit more intense on how they've come to this. For me, it's been a slow, painful process. I would say, I don't want to say a slow death, but a slow process of loss. And I don't know if it's because of the recent losses I've had, the recent deaths that I've had, where I've had to process those and grieve through those, where I think that inevitably I've gotten tools to grieve this. I believe the principles are inherently the same, and we can all learn from learning how to lose good, if that even makes sense. How to win and still, how to lose but yet still win. So I have decided to use those experiences that I've had to be able to pull from them those tools and those lessons that I've learned to take me through this. I know I've spoken like 3 minutes without telling you what it is, but I felt I needed to put the groundwork first, because for me, you understanding that this is not just about telling you what I'm going through or telling you my story or bringing you up in my business, but knowing that humanity has some shared experiences that we can't run from. That's humanity. Within the subset of humanity, us females have shared experiences that we can't run from. Men have shared experiences that they can't run from. Families have shared experiences that they can't run from. And then within those sublets of those subgroups, there are people who are going to have certain experiences that only they will go through. And I feel and I believe strongly that within within those shared commonalities, if we don't have a shared conversation, we can probably go through these things and endure a little bit more discomfort and pain and shame than we need to. I feel like conversations help break walls down. Conversations break down the walls of isolation. Conversations break down the wall of trauma and crisis. Conversations can break down the walls of depression, of anxiety. Conversations can break down the mind blocks that we have sometimes when we are in that bubble and we feel that we're the only ones that are going to go through this particular situation. And there are times that we have that feeling of woe is me. And the greatest malpractice that we do to ourselves is this thing called a pity party. And I granted, yeah, those parties do have access to everyone and we do them. However, I feel that conversations about those shared experiences can help shut down that party a little bit quicker and alleviate the prolonged state of being in a state of despair. Conversations bring in to the table and to the living room individuals who may have never spoken to each other outside of that. Conversations bring you new people into your lives that can be some of your best friends. Conversations can help someone who feels alone and orphaned into a family of experience where they have support. I believe that 100%. But within the scope of conversation has to come the elements of transparency and courage. And Brene Brown always talks about courage, and I love her definition, which is courage is fear walking. So this fear that we have that somebody's going to look at it different because of this particular conversation, and someone is going to think differently about us, yes, but somebody's going to throw it in our face, and they won't love us anymore, or they will not love us to begin with, or they won't want to know more about us, or they won't see past what the thing is into our character and our hearts. That's fear, that's reality, and that's something that a lot of us deal with, no matter what the situation is. But the courage part of it is knowing that if I don't do this, then I may be missing out on opportunity of a whole new world, a world that's outside of what people think about me, a world that's outside of my reality, a world that's outside of my pain. Hence, closing your eyes and just taking the leap of faith that the work that I've done, this is me, the work that I've done, the self-care that I've done, the work that I've done in counseling has equipped me and actually strengthened me enough that I could stand on my own, sharing and having that conversation, even if the conversation is just with myself. But I can almost guarantee that it will never be with just yourself because of how humanity shares experiences. So this is just my introduction. I'm really excited to share this level of vulnerability with you, and I invite you to have an open heart and to see that this particular situation is more frequent than we would want to admit. Us women go through it, or there is always that fear of it. And I have, family members who have gone through it. but I have a lot of friends who have experienced it. And it's funny because now that I am about to go through it, there's so many more women who have literally opened their mouth and say to me, oh, I did it. Oh, I went through it. It happened to me. And I'm flabbergasted because I've known them, for some of them, all my life. I had no idea that they had gone through this particular journey. And so all of a sudden, I had an army of support. But I had a choice of keeping it to myself, not going through what I will be going through, and not saying anything to anyone. But because I practice the courage, which is the fear walking, I now have a support system that's just unfounded. So I'll be back with the backstory, and like I said, I'm excited. So again, welcome to this journey.